GPU Week 1 is here. We are playing against Dell and the Edmonton Coilers. If you guys are excited for today's video, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe. I am on my way to 400 subscribers and would really appreciate it if you could help me get there. So let's talk a little bit about the matchup today. Really interesting one here. We've got Chien on the other side and Terra Kilowattrel and Terra Lechonk. Kilowattrel can be water and flying, and I don't know what Lechonk can be because it's going to be irrelevant in this matchup. Not really concerned about that one too much. Let's think about where this matchup is going. This is obviously a difficult matchup for me as I don't have a really good ice resist, or I don't have any at all, and there's a Chien on the other side. So Iron Hands is going to be forced to take on the defensive responsibility against that Pokemon. The rest of his team, not really something I'm super scared of. You know, Kleavor can be really problematic to switch into at times. My main defensive wall is Ting-Lu, which can sometimes be awkward against that Pokemon, but I've got a lot of great ways to check that with, you know, some of my momentum on this team. Iron Tread is obviously very powerful, and Slowking can be difficult to break down in mid games. But the main secondary threat is going to be that Gardevoir. I do not have a Fairy Resist on that team, so Choice Specs Gardevoir, for example, can kind of just go crazy against me. I don't really have much counterplay to it. On my side, what are the Pokemon that do a lot here? Terra Flying Gyarados is going to be massive in this matchup. We can run enough bulk to live some Ice Shards from Chien, which is going to be very important. And that is going to be a key player in this matchup, as you'll see in the team. Baxcalibur is going to be pretty decent as well. Not going to really have an opportunity for a setup here because there's Gardevoir, which can potentially be a way to deter Scale Shot. So we're going to run Choice Scarf this week. And then something like Greninja is going to be able to have some really interesting application in this battle. So enough of the preview, let's get right into the team. This is the team we are bringing against Dal. Choice Scarf, Baxcalibur, very powerful in this matchup. Smokes almost his entire team with the coverage of Glaive Rush, Icicle Crash, and Earthquake. Ice Shard here is going to be very important because we still need a little bit of priority if he runs a speed boosting Haxor set with Scale Shot or Dragon Dance, so important to have that. Expert Ball Greninja. This is a potential win con in the late game. So with Battle Bond, that's going to be able to allow us to pick up a kill and then outspeed the Chien, preventing that from coming in and revenging with the Sacred Sword. Surf, Ice Beam, Dark Pulse, Low Kick, coverage against basically the entire team. So once I use stuff like the Baxcalibur, the Iron Hands, and the Gyarados to kind of whittle the damage in the mid game, this Greninja is going to come in clean house and just sweep the rest of my opponent's team. Iron Hands, this is basically the defensive wall here for the Chien. This is the common switch in for the first, the first switch into Chien here. Volt Switch is pretty free against my opponent's team. He doesn't really have a ground resist that matters too much. He does obviously have treads, but that's difficult to come into off Chien where I can freely just click Drain Punch and then Thunder Punch and Ice Punch cover the rest of the coverage on this Pokemon. Ting-Lu here, Yachi Berry, this gives me a nice allure into Chien and is going to be my lead going into this matchup. So if Dell decides to lead Chien, I can just easily click Body Press, hope he, insta Chien into the Ting-Lu with an Icicle Crash, and I pick that off early. Rocks here, obviously important as well, and then Ruination is going to be good for picking up damage on common switch-ins on stuff like Chestnut. Screamtail here, BP, Psyshock, Roar, Thunderwave. Not really much here. That matters too much. It's a really good check to Iron Moth, which is important. Baton Pass helps keep some momentum on this team. I'm going to have to play this team very offensive against Dell to prevent, just kind of having to switch into a bunch of his powerful threats. So this is basically going to be a way to check Iron Moth and get some Thunderwaves out on stuff like the Gardevoir. This is going to be a little bit more of a bulky Gyarados in this matchup. Dragon Dance, Terra Blast, Terra Flying as well, and Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail picks up a little bit more damage on that Kilowattrel, specifically if it's Terra Flying. Going to need that for the Oko on that Pokemon in this situation. And then the Protect is going to be really useful for playing some Terra Mind games with that Kilowattrel. Going to really force Dal to kind of think about how he wants to elect to choose the Terra. That's the team. Let's get right into the battle. Alright, this is the team that Dell is bringing. No Iron Moth, which is actually really huge. That was a Pokemon that was pretty problematic when actually building this team in the builder. So that not being a thing is very nice. Chien, obviously very threatening. Kilowattrel is Terra Water. I almost said Terra Fire. For some reason, he's got the Chestnut and the Gardevoir as well. I think Chien has to be the obvious lead here. It's the lead that I'm going to protect against by leading off with Ting-Lu. Kleavor could come out, obviously, and that would be a little bit of a problem to go into, but I think I think it was the Cleavior though. Iron Hands is pretty much the freest switch in of all time against that Pokemon, so I'm not like too concerned about that one just yet. In this game, I'm pretty much fine to just go in Iron Hands every time if that's the lead, but I'm predicting most likely Chien lead. I don't have an Ice Resist on this team, so that is that is the Pokemon I'm predicting to lead here. Iron Treads is obviously a good lead as well, but good luck, have fun to Dal. I haven't actually gotten to play Dal at any point in my draft league career, so this is going to be pretty exciting. Always fun to play new people in the scene. Let's see what he leads off with though. Ooh, the nerves are a little bit higher for this one. He does lead with Cleavior. Okay, so that makes a little bit of sense. Let me actually like see what the calcs are on my Tinglu here. Yeah, the calcs are pretty damning in this spot. I don't really have much of a reason not to just swap in Iron Hands here immediately. Iron Hands is my defensive answer to this Pokemon. I could see him going and staying in for a close combat. I could Earthquake, but I want to preserve HP on this. And the main reason I want to preserve HP on this is because this is a really, really good lure for the Chien, as I mentioned in the team builder perspective. The team builder at the start of the video is I don't think it makes sense to let that thing take HP, take damage when it doesn't need to. And this Stone Axe is going to do like actually 3 damage, which is funny. He is going to get his rocks up, which is a little bit annoying. That's going to affect some of my team, mainly going to affect the, what is it called? The Baxcalibur. Baxcalibur is going to actually have a little bit of a tough time dealing with that. I didn't actually write the team down here. Hold on. So I think Treads would be a pretty fishy switch here at this point. I don't think he's going to go Treads. I think he's going to go straight into... I think he's going to go straight into Chestnut here. He's just going to switch out. Not even going to U-turn. Okay, interesting. And he goes right into the Chestnut. That is actually perfect for me. I get a nice little Volt Switch off on here. Managed to keep a little bit of momentum in my side, and now I get to pick something in to come in for free. It would be nice to bring in baxcalibur in this spot, to be honest, but because of the rocks, I don't actually think I want to. I think that would be a little bit of a bad switch. It doesn't even deal a lot of damage to this thing. I could go into Gyarados and like in Dragon Dance. Terraflying actually does threaten this thing out. If I set up, what happens here? Is there like... There's no way I just win here if I set up, right? On this Pokemon, he could be... There's no way I just win here, right? That would be insane if that were the case. He doesn't have a lot going on here. And I can't just bring this in. I'm just going to bring this in and threaten this Pokemon out. I do have the heavy-duty boots. He's going to reveal to be leftovers, which is good. So he doesn't have any berry, and this Terra Blast is going to kill, so he is kind of threatened here. Do I have any reason not to hold on? Do I not have a reason to not just Dragon Dance here? Does this thing get anything that would punish this? It could be Roar. I think I'm just going to Terra Blast, actually. I think Terra Blast is probably the safest play here. Just do 1,000,000 damage to something. He could very well have a Choice Scarf in the back, which is kind of my main concern in this spot. He goes into Iron Treads, okay. If I Dragon Dance, was that just over? Yeah, at +1 it's not over, so I think this was actually a pretty fine play. To do this and to just get a little bit of damage off. Obviously I Terra early, but I'm always Terraing with this Pokemon in this spot, so there's not really much of a concern that I have. And that's actually the requisite chip that I need for max HP Iron Treads. And this looks to be actually very defensive. Oh no, hold on, I have +1 Calc up. Yeah, this looks to be about max HP Iron Treads. Maybe a little bit of bulk on the defensive side as well. So I can go back into my, what's it called? I can go back on my Tinglu here. Tinglu is pretty free. It prevents a little bit of momentum from coming out here. It's probably fast and probably going to try to Rock Slide me, so I'm just going to go back into Tinglu. I think that is my safest play in this spot. I know he's not doubling out at this point because he didn't go for an attack. Let's see if he elects to go for something like a Volt Switch. He's going to Ice Spinner. Unfortunate to lose my Yachi Berry like that, though. Good prediction on his part to have Ice Spinner instead of Rock Slide. The thing is, though, this still does have the... still does have the ability to live a Chien hit. I do have to basically, not get flinched against a lot of sets. I think it's going to be nice to get rocks up here. What would be his switch into this? I think it was Chestnut last time. If I get up my Stealth Rocks here, that would be pretty good against the Chien putting that into range of certain things. I could Ruination on the Chestnut, but I'm just going to use this as an opportunity to get up my Stealth Rocks. Stealth Rocks is going to be really important this game, especially with that Chestnut. And he does elect to bring out the Chestnut. That is perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. This is leftovers still. We know that already. Stealth Rocks is going to be key here, as well as for the Kilowatt Roll. Okay, so what is the most likely thing to happen here? He could Body Press here. I can honestly just Ruination. I kind of expect him to try to get a Spike up and try to stack a little bit. If I get a Ruination off here, that makes this Pokemon really weak to, what is it called? To Iron Hands, actually, to Ice Punch. And it puts it really in range of the Greninja, which is also like a pretty decent win con here. Woodhammer is going to do a decent amount of damage, but I'm actually just going to Ruination, see if I can pick off half HP. He's going to go for the spikes. Okay, that is perfect. I could have gotten really aggressive with the double there into Gyarados. That actually might have been a potential game-winning play. But now that I get the Ruination off on this thing is going to take about half. And now it's going to be really, really tough for this Pokemon to manage the problem that is... the problem that is Greninja. Greninja opens up some late game sweeps. That also opens up some Choice Scarf, baxcalibur endgame scenarios. Question here is, what does he want to go for? He could just Spike again. I don't think spiking again makes a lot of sense. He could go for a Body Press, a Wood Hammer. I am Terra now, so that does make this a little bit easier to switch in on, actually. I actually do have a pretty free switch here into my Gyarados, and I think I'm going to take the opportunity to swap into Gyarados, actually. Now that Iron Treads is potentially now in range, the attack now, it could still very well be Choice Scarf, and I do have to keep that one in mind. But let's see what he wants to go for. Super Fang, okay. Super Fang is pretty annoying in this spot, trying to get half HP on that Tinglu. So we now know some moves on this thing, which is good. The problem is this thing is now in range of Ice Shard from Chien, so I kind of can't really use that as an opportunity here to do massive damage to that. I'm kind of expecting the Treads to come back in. That's what came in last time. If I go for... I kind of think I want to get aggressive here and go for the Aqua Tail. I think at this point I'm playing towards a Greninja. Endgame is probably my most likely scenario. I still need to really get damage on that Gardevoir. I can really catch that Treads out if I go for that move. But do I get aggressive here? Man, this is a really tough spot early on in the game. I'm going to Aqua Tail. I think Aqua Tail is a good aggressive play. He is going to withdraw. Nice. Perfect. Let's see what he goes into here. Would really like to see Iron Treads. Perfect. Can I pick up this Iron Treads? Please don't fucking miss this move. Yeah, he is going to get hit by the Rocky Helmet. Or not the Rocky Helmet, by the Stealth Rocks. And that Aqua Tail is going to do a lot of damage. Oh my god. As if it puts into actual 1 HP. Oh, that is so frustrating. Would really, really like to pick that off. But now that is in range of Ice Shard, which is crucial. That is just crucial damage to pick up there. Really, really good damage to see on this Pokemon. Tinglu is still probably going to be my best move to go for here. Still going to be my best Pokemon to go into. Does have knockoff now. It could be Endeavor. That would be actually kind of interesting. I don't think that's likely in this spot, though. Iron Heads is just my safest switch in. Or not Iron Heads. Oh my god, I can't even speak. My, what is this Pokemon called? Tinglu is what this Pokemon is called. I would really like if you randomly switched here, it gave me speed information on this Pokemon. I don't expect my Gyarados to outspeed by any means. And I expect the Ice Spinner to come out here still. Taking a lot of hazard damage, though. This Pokemon is really not going to be that useful the rest of this game. And he is going to elect a Rapid Spin to get the rocks off, which is pretty good for me. He's going to get a little bit of a speed boost as well. So I kind of expect He went Chestnut last time. If he stays in, he definitely Ice Spinners. There's no way that he wouldn't Ice Spinner in this spot. I can go for another Ruination. That seems to be like insanely aggressive, and I don't think that really accomplishes a lot. I could go for the Body Press. Body Press actually does a decent job at dealing a little bit of damage to the Chestnut and does protect if this Pokemon wants to stay in this spot. I'm definitely living a hit every time. My attack could be Earthquake here. I'm just going to Body Press, see if I can pick this Pokemon off. And if he goes into Chestnut, I can get some damage in. Perfect. We're going to pick up our first kill of the season with good old pal, with our good old pal Tinglu. Picks up the kill against Iron Treads, and some aggressive play from our Gyarados allows us to pick up Iron Treads early. Unfortunate that we don't get to use this Pokemon as a lure for the Chien Pao, but I'm a little bit okay trading off Pokemon in this spot, and the main reason I'm okay with that is because of the fact that there's no Iron Moth. Iron Moth was a really threatening Pokemon in this matchup. I think Gardevoir is the most threatening Pokemon at this point now. I think Choice Specs Gardevoir is going to be really difficult for me to manage in this late game. And yeah, he is going to bring out the Gardevoir here. Really don't want to see that one. He is going to be Trace Vessel of Ruin. And it's going to weaken the special attack of my surrounding Pokemon. Obviously, I'm not going to switch out here. That would not make a lot of sense at all. I'm kind of in a really tough spot here. I can go into this Pokemon, actually, the Screamtail. I think I'm just going to go into Screamtail here. I kind of want to preserve this Pokemon just a little bit, just so maybe some sack fodder to get some momentum to get into my Greninja. I would really like to get this Pokemon paralyzed if I have the opportunity to. Yeah, he's just going to like to go for the Moonblast. That's going to do a decent amount of damage, and that's going to give us basically the requisite info for us to know if this is Specs or not. So it's definitely not Choice Specs, so that's good. There's like a decent chance that this is Choice Scarfed, is what it's looking like right now. Okay, so Choice Scarf is good to know. I could go for a Thunder Wave here. Thunder Wave would be really nice. Pokemon that my opponent could go into include the Chien Pao. I'm just going to Thunder Wave this Pokemon, and he's just going to withdraw here. The only thing that really punishes me here, if he goes to kill a Wattrel, then he goes to Cleave here. Nice. This is a good Pokemon to get a nice little Thunder Wave off on. And we don't miss. Perfect. So in case this happens to be Choice Scarf or anything like that, we've neutralized the speed on this Pokemon, which is really important. I do have Roar, just in case. It would be really nice if I could actually pick up a full para here as I go into my Iron Hands. That'd actually be very nice in this particular spot. This also does open up my Greninja to Battle Bond on this thing, which is actually kind of something to be mindful of. My opponent is just going to click Exorcism here. That's going to do actually 3 damage at this point. Alright, so now the question is how do I win this game? So Greninja can obviously Battle Bond at some point. This would be like an interesting spot to do it. I do actually kill this Pokemon. And if I go into Chestnut, my Ice Beam's actually going to kill. And then if he goes to kill a Wattrel after, and he Terra Waters, Dark Pulse actually does have a decent chance to potentially kill if I set up this Battle Bond Greninja play here. So I'm actually just going to Volt Switch here. My opponent is just going to X-Scissor again. So is this like Choice maybe? Interesting. Man, if I had Rocks up, this would have been pretty free to go for this Greninja Battle Bond and try to deal a lot of damage. What does the Gardevoir take from this if it's Choice Scarf? At +1, yeah, we still need to pick up a little bit more chip on this Pokemon, but I can actually bring out the Gyarados here. Yeah, Gyarados is actually really free here and is going to be able to pick up the kill because of the fact that this thing is paralyzed. And the fact that if this is Choice Scarf, it is locked into X-Scissor. So I'm just going to bring this thing out, actually. The question is what does he even go into at this point? I can go for the Dragon Dance, but once again, I'm pretty sure Chien Pao at this point is going to pick this thing off with the Ice Shard. Yeah, it's looking pretty dire for that. I could Protect just to see, but I really just want to pick up some massive damage on something here. The problem is I can't actually Terra Blast because that's not actually going to kill, so I'm just going to like to go for the Aqua Tail. This could be Choice Scarf, but I think Aqua Tail has to be my play here. I could miss, but once again, the calcs are not in my favor at this point. And I mean, this attack is very, very tough to switch in on, and he's actually just going to like to sack this thing off. So this thing has to be like really bulky to live, and that's going to be a kill for Gyarados. Gyarados putting in a lot of work in this game, and we've picked up 2 kills in this spot. Let's see what my opponent elects to go into. I'm going to guess probably Choice Scarf Gardevoir. If Gardevoir comes in, I think that kind of reveals to me that it is probably the Choice Scarf on this Pokemon. Thriller comes in. I'm going to think that's a pretty likely Chien in the build. That is pretty obvious. Okay. So the question here now is, how do I approach this spot? So the fact that it's coming in, I think Ice Shard is pretty likely. I think Tinglu is probably my best sack here. At this point, I'm kind of just sacking Pokemon because this Gyarados comes in and gets a decent amount of kills. And this Greninja has low kick, so I'm actually able to Mickey the Chien as soon as I get a kill with this Pokemon, which is going to be almost at any point in the rest of this game. I'm just going to like to sack this Pokemon off. Let's just get this Tinglu out. If he elects to Swords Dance, it's obviously very, very awkward, and I'm really not going to be happy about that, but I think he's probably just going to try to Ice Shard to protect against something like Choice Scarf Gyarados in this spot is probably what I would say is the most likely play here. He's going to Icicle Crash. Okay. Icicle Crash also fine. And we do lose our good friend. So obviously my Iron Hands is going to live basically any hit that this thing wants to go for. The question is what type of attack do I want to go for? What Pokemon do I want to punish coming in here? Because I think it would be pretty reckless for him to stay in, especially where Adamant Choice Band has no rolls that kill in this spot. So the question is, do I Drain Punch anyway? I think my play has been to Volt Switch every time. Does he want to predict that, go to Kilowattrel? He could go into the Gardevoir here. Gardevoir would be very, very powerful move. But at this point, I'm really, really looking to get this Greninja sweep going. I think I've weakened down enough of the team that Greninja plus baxcalibur should be able to get this done. And I kind of don't see a reason for him to stay in unless he's trying to play for the flinch. I could go for the Ice Punch. I could go for the Volt Switch. Volt Switch would actually be very, very nice here. I think I'm actually going to Volt Switch here. And the reason I want to Volt Switch, yeah, he is going to switch out, is because if he goes into Gardevoir, this opens up an angle for me to potentially bring in my baxcalibur. He just goes Chestnut here. Well, that's actually perfect for me, because this means I get a free... That means I get a free Terra Blast here with my Gyarados, and Gyarados is just going in right now. Gyarados, my opponent just has no counterplay to this Gyarados at this point in time. And I kind of want to see what it does to like a Kilowattrel at this point in time. Terra Blast opens up the Dark Pulse kill, which is actually really, really crucial. Really, really happy about that one. And yeah, now my opponent really doesn't have much they can do here to play around this. As long as I get the Terra Blast off on this thing, if I kill this thing, then I'm okay with that as well. I kind of would then take that as an opportunity to just probably protect if he brings in Gardevoir just to get him to lock in. But I'm just going to click Terra Blast here. I have no reason not to. Could get into Kilowattrel at this point, but once again, that opens up all the calcs that I need at this point to potentially win this game. And that's all I'm looking for. I'm just looking for the game-winning calcs and game-winning damage on Gardevoir at this point. I think I've really opened up this Greninja endgame with Gyarados. Gyarados, yeah, once again, awesome, like massive game from Gyarados in this spot. The Iron Treads Aqua Tail was, I think, kind of a turning point in this game. Could have potentially been a tough click to make. But this Gyarados is going to pick off this Chestnut, which is huge. And while that is one less Pokemon that we can pick off with the Greninja, the game is very simplified at this point, and I can kind of sack this Pokemon off. Actually, is kind of what I'm thinking I want to do here. And the reason I want to sack this off is I'm not sure. I'm curious what he goes into. It probably has to be Chien, right? It kind of has to be Chien, right? Yeah. So the question here is, I mean, at this point I don't have a switch in, so I kind of do have to sack this Pokemon off. I did switch out last time, And this Terrablast does have a chance to kill. What other Pokemon do I have? Do I just go into... Yeah, so if I sack this Pokemon off, I can go into Iron Hands and just attack, and I think be perfectly fine with that. If he tries to get cute here... it could be a problem for him. I'm just going to Terra Blast if he tries to Swords Dance. He's going to Icicle Crash and hit. Okay. So that's a little bit unfortunate. If he missed there, though, obviously that game is like pretty over. There's nothing my opponent can really do in that case. But at this point, I do just get to bring in my Iron Hands again. And I think as I've said, we've kind of opened up this end game pretty well. I do think I have to just Drain Punch here. I don't see kind of a way to make another play. I can kind of see him getting really, really aggressive at this point. Drain Punch does a decent amount to this Pokemon, and it doesn't open up a kill. With my Greninja is the problem. Ice Punch does open up a kill, but I don't think I can really click that. In this spot, I'd probably just go back into Scream Tail, honestly. If he elects to go that, I'm just going to Drain Punch here. I think it's my best play. He's going to withdraw, which is perfectly fine. Like, I'm okay with this. If he goes into Gardevoir, I'm going to get a little bit of damage back, and I can go into the Scream Tail again. It is going to do a little bit of damage. That actually brings some interesting information. That does look to be a little bit defensive here, which is good to know. Once again, I think I'm trying to just play towards this Greninja endgame at this point in time. Well, I'm just going to go into this Pokemon. I've gone into it every time at this point, so no reason not to go back into it. The problem I have right now is just going to like to Shadow Ball. Okay. I take a decent amount of damage. I'm actually going to be able to figure out if this is Choice Scarf or not. So Shadow Ball is like not doing anything to this Baxcalibur, and I get a pretty free Icicle Crash in that case. Kilowattrel is kind of obvious here. This is getting a little bit tough. If I do this damage... I mean, if this is Scarf, this actually does open up... Greninja pretty well. I'm just going to Thunder Wave, see if I can get a T-Wave off on this thing. Okay, I am faster, so this is not Choice Scarf. So that means I am actually going to be able to bring in my Baxcalibur in this spot. Let's see if I get the full para. No. Okay. So that's good to know. I could have Side Shocked there, obviously, which would have been like very, very powerful. And would have potentially opened up some other calcs, but I'm just going to go into Baxcalibur at this point and click the Icicle Crash. I don't really have another play that makes a lot of sense here. I don't really have another play, I don't think. This Gardevoir is a little bit problematic, and I'm going to take a shit ton, so I can only come in twice. And I basically am forced to click Icicle Crash here. Maybe I should have clicked Side Shock to, you know, guarantee this roll here. I think this roll is still pretty obviously in my favor. And if I don't get the kill, then I go straight into Greninja, and I think it's game over from there. So I'm just going to click Icicle Crash here. Safe play here. I don't really have much else that I can do in this spot. He can go into Chien Pao, but if he goes into Chien Pao, then I can just sack off my Iron Hands. This is a pretty tough spot for my opponent. This is a really difficult endgame. It's kind of ended up being tougher than I would have expected. Okay. Huge roll here. Wow, don't pick up the roll. That's unfortunate. I am going to live this, though, but I'm not going to be able to come in after rocks and spikes pretty much again, which is a little bit annoying. I think I'm still in a really good spot with this Greninja. I think this Greninja should still be able to clean the late game. How much is rocks going to do? Hold on, I got to get the calculator out here. I think this should be dead after rocks. Yeah, I think it should be here. I think it's pretty much Alonzo, unfortunately. I see my opponent makes a play here. I don't see them switching out. I don't think there's like a reasonable... Really? That's a switch? What are we switching into here? Into this? Uh-oh, doesn't make sense to me. He could be Swords Dance. Okay. Greninja against the Chien. I mean, Ice Shard's still not doing a lot here, and I'm still going to be able to pick it up. I might not even have to low kick. Does this thing get like agility or something that I have to play around? No, it doesn't. I think I just attack here, honestly, at this point. I don't think I have much to lose from just Icicle crashing and dealing some damage here. My opponent does elect to Swords Dance, and that's perfectly fine. And he's just going to elect to Icicle Crash. Okay. So now, what is the Kilowattrel Calx? I do need to get some damage on that Pokemon, actually, on that Kilowattrel, which is a little bit unfortunate. I actually do think I have to go into this, because it is a roll. He does have to Terra. He is forced to Terra in this spot. And then you can miss a Hurricane. If I go into this, I think I have to do this, and I think I have to play for the roll at this point. I think I have to play for the roll. Is probably the most likely thing that I have to do here. Is there any reason for me... What moves can I click here that makes sense to go for? Surf just does a million damage here. And picks up this Pokemon. Alright, well, I'm just going to Surf, and we're going to Battle Bond up and see what happens. My opponent could get very aggressive, actually, here, and switch out. Oh, this thing is... frig. I threw this game. I threw this game, unfortunately. Yeah, I should have just gone into... Yeah, I'm not... He's just going to Sacred Sword here. I don't know what I was even thinking going into this. I'm really baiting the Choice Scarf here, though. Wow, that was a horrible play on my part to go this. I should have just gone into... Fuck, I should have just gone into my, what is it called? Oh my god, he actually switched. I should have gone into my Iron Hands. He actually bought the bait here. Oh my gosh, and he goes into Kilowattrel. This is actually potentially like really, really huge in this spot. Hold on. Oh my god. This is actually massive. Hold on. The problem is Thunderbolt kills from this range. If I go into Iron Hands, can I bank on... Iron Hands is a potential opportunity here. Wow, the fact that he switched is ballsy. To say the least. I really don't know what I can do in this specific spot. I kind of have to hope for the miss. If I hope for them to miss the next turn, then I think I have a chance to win this with Iron Hands if he misses. I kind of do have to sack this thing off, I think, unfortunately. Maybe that play wasn't the worst play in the world then. He's just going to Terra Water, and he might try to, like, Roost or something, assuming I'm Choice Scarfed. I kind of have to assume he's playing. He's kind of has to throw this game to me a little bit here. He's going to Thunderbolt. Okay. This is just such a... I played this game so poorly. Honestly. In the end. And if he misses his Hurricane, then I potentially have a chance. But it's not looking likely at this point. Yeah, I guess I have to hope for a miss here at this point. If he misses Hurricane, he misses Hurricane, and I can win the game. Oh, he just says Terra Blast Water. Yeah, that's going to do a decent amount of damage. That is going to put me not really in range, actually. $172. I mean, I do potentially live some Chien hits here, depending on the Chien. We're not out of the water yet. Hold on. He has to be Choice Banded actually to kill me here. Wow, that's actually kind of insane. He has to be Choice Banded here. He goes into this Gardevoir. I assume Gardevoir has to get outsped at this point. I do actually outspeed paralyzed Gardevoir, so I'm just gonna Drain Punch this because it's not Choice Scarfed. Oh, what? Oh wow, it doesn't. Hold on, does it... Did I get this calc wrong? Is this actually Choice Scarf? Does the Choice Scarf not outspeed? Oh, because of the other thing, yeah. I guess it didn't. That's a really unfortunate game. I really thought I had a pretty... If I got a Parahax, I won that game, actually, which is kind of funny. But yeah, that's a tough one. I think I really had a lot going for me well in that early game, and I thought I had a really good chance to win that one. With how I was playing early game with that Gyarados. But at the end, I think I opened up myself thinking a little bit through that greninja play. I think that greninja play was probably fine at the end. Man, I think I really needed an opportunity to find that greninja Battlebond, and I just couldn't find it. He protected his Chien very, very well. This matchup was as important to him winning. So I think he actually was Choice Scarf. So I think, I mean, on the Scream Tail, obviously, I think that's kind of where it comes in. That I think I got that calc wrong because of the Paralyze. So I think he was Choice Scarf, which made sense in the matchup, realistically, for the most part. And maybe I played my baxcalibur maybe potentially wrong in that mid game, but I think I opened up a decent chance for myself to win there. So unfortunately, it is what it is. Maybe I could have. He actually went for Terra Water, which is interesting. I'm trying to think about that end game. If I go into Iron Hands there on the T-Bolt, and he has and he Terra Blast Waters, and I kill it. And then he goes into Gardevoir and kills me. I actually can Battle Bond my way into victory that way, potentially, which is interesting. Because if I look at the Greninja calcs, yeah, if I look at the Greninja, actually, I would, I'd obviously outspeed that, kill that, and then kill the Chien. Wow, interesting game. A lot to think about on that one. Really, really good game, Didel. GG, great game. Unfortunately, we start 0-1 in the GBU this time around. We've lost week 1. The first time I've lost week 1, I feel like, in a long time in a Wi-Fi league. I feel like I've usually won my week 1s, but next week you come up against John Jr., which will be an even bigger matchup. We've both been talking a lot going into this game, so I'm super, super excited for that game there. It's going to be super, super fun. But overall, yeah, it is what it is. We'll get him next time. I'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, have a wonderful day.